The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of ParaX, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
What's your turn?
Supernatural, metaphysical, paranormal. You know, all those things you've been wondering about? Are you ready to go deeper into the realms of the unknown? I hope you've got your walking shoes on, because life is an adventure, and this is the journey. Come on, let's go. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. This is the Journey Radio Show, and hey, we are the She-Squatchers. I'm Jen Cruz, your host, and I've got my trusty teammates, Jenna Grover.
Hello, hello.
And Tammy Trikel.
Hey, everybody.
Yay. We've got all of us in the house. So we've got lots to share with you tonight. We've got an extra special guest. We've got Bob Dizzle with us tonight. Hey, Bob. Welcome to the show.
What's happening? Hey, what's going on? Glad to be here. How did I do with the dancing? How'd my Ninja Turtles?
You did great. You did great. We invite people to dance into the show with us, and he brought the Ninja Turtles.
I was too tired to twerk, so I got toys out.
No twerking.
Yeah, too tired.
Dang it. You're gonna have to
do what I thought right there.
It's gonna be in my. You have to sign up for my Patreon for that one.
OnlyFans.
Yep.
Oh my, I finally figured out what that one was.
Oh,
I know now.
That was an awkward Sunday dinner, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was interesting.
Grandma.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So Jenna, did you make a lot of money on there then, or
spend a lot?
I thought it was like something that people just went online and they just like for people that wanted to make extra money. I didn't realize what they were doing to make the extra money.
It definitely is
everyone. Let them be free.
I
wouldn't do it personally.
Free is the word I would describe it with.
Boy, I'm saying.
All right.
Would you look at that?
All right.
Goodness. All right. So back to the show.
Sorry, I derailed the whole thing. That's what I do.
It's all a good time.
Would you tell us a little bit about you so our listeners can catch up and learn more about you?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, very uncomplicated. I just host a podcast called the Bobby Dizzle Podcast because I like podcasts. I started off having I had stand-up comedians, local musicians, and people with crazy war stories. And then I started getting more and more paranormal people, and they became the easier guests to get. And so I just started pursuing them only. And so it kind of worked out that way. And right now I'm called the Bobby Dizzle Podcast, and I'm changing to a more cryptid-based podcast coming up in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But I've been doing it since 2019 off and on, but really hardcore since October of last year. And most of it's paranormal stuff.
Fun. So you like ghosts and...
Oh, yeah. And I like history. I did a lot of history, a lot of science, a lot of paleontologist.
Okay.
I've been obsessed with Bigfoot since I was in 4th grade, if not earlier. Yeah. So I'm just I just got to hear it. I did back in college and stuff. I was a history minor in college, so I like taking those classes and hearing stories. So I read a book called Finding Your Blue Flame by one of my favorite comedians, Jen Fulwiler. You may have heard of her. She's a radio host from down in Austin. And find what you're meant to do. I'm an IT guy by trade. I work in computers, but this podcast thing, if I could do it full time, I'd be perfect. So much fun. I love doing the podcast. And I like talking all the stories and hearing about Bigfoot and, dinosaur stories and a lot of ghosts. I love paranormal societies. Anytime I can get somebody with fill in the blank paranormal society, I'm in. Just talk to me.
Isn't the world amazing? It's such an incredible place. And I mean, there's so many people that are ready to talk about it because it's finally being accepted as something that happens quite often.
Man, the paranormal people will not stop. I've had someone, I'll book out 3 months in a day and a half. And I'm like, how did that happen? And they're like, when's your next available? I'm like, well, it looks like October. How did that happen? I thought I couldn't get a guest 2 years ago. I've got kind of a strategy now how to do it. And so make my own, like choose my own adventure, so to speak. I have to choose my own subject matter.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
So Bigfoot, you like Bigfoot?
Oh, I like Bigfoot a lot. And let me tell you what. Have you ever heard of Joe Rogan say his life would be 5% better if Bigfoot was real? It's like he said that before. That's kind of like when he said that, I'm like, that's me. Like I'll get in these like almost like I'm brokenhearted by the like Bigfoot broke up with me, thinking if I could just knew he was real, I'd have a better day today. If I just knew it, because that's why I wanted to go to Randy's so bad, even though it's like the Oregon Trail for me to get there. I would die of dysentery before I got there.
So
that's so funny.
Where do you live?
I live in North Alabama.
Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit far away from us.
I could fly there in like 2 or 3 hours, but who wants to fly? I like driving.
No, you can't. You can't get there that fast.
Not
too much
unless
pretty
you
country.
have a private jet. Even then, you still couldn't go that fast.
It takes all day to get here.
Mm-hmm.
I have flown to Montana before, and it did take all day.
Yep. Gotta switch those planes up.
Airports and layovers, gate changes.
Boo! Can't fly into Black Duck.
Nope.
You
Black
can't
Duck
fly
International.
No.
So
Black Duck.
of Sasquatch, you said you got interested in Sasquatch when you were younger, right? Like you said you were what?
I said fourth. I meant fifth grade. Do you remember? I don't know how old you are. I'm not going to guess because it's impolite. I turned 40 in like 6 weeks. So this would have been 94, 95. And they used to have they had book fairs, and they had the little pamphlets that came, like a little newspaper, and you could send in little checks and get a book back. And I got tales of the stories you could tell in the dark. Real ghost. I would always get the ghost books, and I'd get they had Mario VHSs and ghost books, and I would get those. Super Mario Brothers Super Show. And one of the books had Sasquatch, it had Talipo, which was a crazy cryptid one, and it had several other ones. It had the hook. Remember the calls coming from inside the house, babysitter story? It had that in there. It had the hook with the cars that escaped murder. You've heard those. It's all the urban legends. And ever since then, Golden Arm. Oh, that's the scariest ghost story to me when I was little. I wouldn't let my dad tell it because it was on Andy Griffith's show. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
When they were in that haunted house. Andy told it to Barney. Barney's like, stop talking about it.
Okay, I have to watch Andy Griffith again.
Yeah, they were camping, and they told it when they was camping. Also, in the same time frame, I grew up way out in the woods in North Alabama, out in the sticks. And there's an old plantation still there. It's just a hunting club now. And after we ate Sunday dinner at my grandmother's house, me and her would take a walk around this big place, big bean field, cornfield, close to 1,000 acres, maybe more. And after I'd read that book and just got obsessed with it, we're walking one Sunday. It's like 2 p.m. and we hear this in the background. Have you ever seen Langoliers by Stephen King? In that whole movie, there's a noise. You know, we were hearing something like that, and we just through the woods, like something was just tearing, a $sign through the woods. Like, what is that noise? It just kept getting bigger and bigger. And I've been obsessed with Bigfoot, and I'm like 9 years old and psyching myself out. All of a sudden, hundreds of deer pop out of the woods in like a wide, like 20 yards wide, just hundreds of them for 5 minutes. I'll never forget it. I'm like, what made all those deer do that? And so it kind of galvanized my Bigfoot obsession from then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure something trivial did it. Like maybe they released some, or somebody. I really don't know why that. In all the years I've hunted, I've never seen that many deer in one place. I don't know where they came from, but yeah, that was one of the things I remember when I thought about it. And then I would watch, Discovery Channel would have something on it, and there's anything that come on, I would watch.
So when did you start taking it seriously? Like when you decided, okay, I really am into this and I want to see more.
When I met Randy. Before it was just like a guilty pleasure, like eating Krispy Kreme donuts. And then I met Randy. I'm like, stuff might be real. This is real. I remember the feeling I went to work the next day and have an existential crisis. This is like 6 months ago. Like I always kind of believed maybe, I never did. I never was a complete dyed-in-the-wool skeptic. I was optimistic, really optimistic. Then I met Randy. I'm like, I'm an optimistic believer now. So I'm a cautious believer now. He really turned the page.
He really wants to go out to Randy Bowers, and we were just there. Jenna and I were just there.
So far away. I'm hoping there's someplace closer that I can go to.
Tell them what you saw.
Jen.
We saw Bigfoot. I thought it was a dead tree because it was standing out in the open, and it was standing very still, and it was like 4 power poles away, and we were on this power line corridor. Mm-hmm. And you know how they have them really cleared out, and so there's like no trees, and it's just grass and power lines. And Randy actually mows it, so it's nicely mowed. All the trails are nicely mowed, and so we're walking, and we're with Randy and Michael Quast, who wrote the book about Randy's place and the Bigfoot activity there. And so we're walking, and Randy's talking about all the stuff that is out there, and I'm looking up there, and I'm like, that kind of looks like a Bigfoot way out there. And it was like 4 power poles ahead from where we were. And I'm like, well, that can't be Bigfoot, or Randy would be saying something. You know, he'd say something if it was a Bigfoot. It must be a dead tree, because, you know, from far away, a dead rotting tree looks kind of like Bigfoot, right?
It could take all kinds of forms.
Right. And it was dark in color. It was like a dark brown, but it had that slight reddish tint to it, like rotting wood looks like when it's rotting, right? So we're walking, and I'm looking around, and my eyes just keep going back to that. It's still there, standing out in the open. And I'm just like, all right, still there. Randy's still not saying anything. So it's got to be a dead tree. And so we walk 2 power poles up. It's still there, still hasn't moved. We walk into the woods following Randy to look at some teepee structures back in the woods. The mosquitoes were awful, by the way. They were awful. You really had to spray yourself hard to get them to not be on you.
Gotta take it in there.
So then we come back out into the power line corridor, and we walk over to this. It's like a power line. It's an electrical box of some kind by the power pole, and that power pole actually had some Bigfoot hairs stuck in it, which had been taken. Some had been taken, and some were left behind. And Doug Hychek from Monster Quest had verified that those were indeed Bigfoot hairs. So Jenna was videoing I took a close look at the hairs without touching them, and Jenna's videoing them. And then after I got done looking at the hairs, I looked down the corridor and realized that big tree that I was looking at, that big dead tree, had walked away and was now gone.
It moved on you?
It moved. It was not there anymore. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's gone. And so I started saying about how I'd been looking at this thinking it was a dead tree, but apparently.
Well, and I have to butt in here, because she was talking about the hairs, and I was looking so intently on these hairs. My focus was getting these in the clear. I could hear them talking, but I wasn't really listening. You know, I wasn't in, I was just intent on getting this hair, and seeing it without shadow and in the perfect light. And all of a sudden I'm hearing Jen talk about this, and I'm like, what? Because I had also seen something, and we have this on tape, not what we saw, but we have the event of her talking and me popping in. And I was so shocked. I said, which side was it on? I said, because she said, mine was I saw it on the left. I said, I saw something on the right. And I said, it wasn't as tall as this 10-foot marker. But anyway, Jen, sorry, I had to butt in.
Well, yeah, because Randy asked, well, where was it by? And I said it was by that white pole, because there's only one white pole there. All the other ones are wood colored. And he says, how tall was it? And I'm like that black stuff. And there's this black wrap around the poles. And he says that the bottom of that black wrap is 10 feet. I was like, really? Because he's out there measured it before. And I'm like, that's
LeBron
really
James
big.
Or Bigfoot. No choice.
That's really big. And what Jenna saw was like 6 or 7 feet?
Probably around 7 feet, because it was not up at that 10-foot marker, and which is so smart of him to do, to have that on each one of those poles.
He didn't put it there.
Well, whoever did was a smarty patardy.
I think that's to keep the squirrels from climbing those poles.
Well, Oh, well, it works for us.
It's like those door frames on the side of the gas station.
Mm-hmm.
Has your
How's your height?
If I was Randy, I'd take full. I would take full responsibility for putting those there. Oh yeah, I'd put them there 10 foot. That's how I measure my squatch or Sasquatch, as he says.
He told us how he went out there and measured them to see how tall they were before, so he knew.
And we found out after the fact that here. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, yeah, she's right. So after we're talking about this and we realized that I saw one and Jenna saw a different one. I didn't actually catch, Jenna. How long were you watching the one that you saw?
I wasn't watching it because Randy, okay, all of this happened, and this is from my perception. All of this happened when Randy had actually started us walking out on this trail. It was a mode trail. We were taking this mode trail, and it was a trail that had all these poles down it. So I was assuming that what I saw must have been there because he didn't say anything. He was literally just walking and talking. And, if we were to see something in front of us that he didn't recognize, well, then you'd think that he'd say something. But since he didn't, it was just like, you dismiss it so quickly because it's a quick glance. You've got this quick glance and that's all you've got. So sorry. Yeah. Go on.
So after we've talked about this and we're standing there and Michael Quast said, that's the fourth sighting there in that spot. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And because he wrote a book about that place and the Bigfoot sightings there, and he's mapped all the sightings and where they were. In the original copy, I guess there was a map, the ones that he was printing at home. And so where I saw one was a sighting that had been seen before, and where Jenna saw one was a sighting where one had been seen before by two people. So very interesting that they're hanging out in that spot. So definitely going to check that out when we go back again. So, but it was very fun time. We definitely had a blast out there, except for when it rained.
I heard so much about it that when you told me where it was, I knew where it was. I hadn't even been there.
Oh, it is absolutely amazing. The location is absolutely amazing. Fresh, plush.
Mm-hmm.
I love the mode trails. That was awesome.
That was nice. That was easy walking. But then you get in some of those. There are no trails. When you get inside of the woods, there are no trails. You're literally walking over logs against logs and then higher grass. So you have to be really careful. So, but it's amazing out there. I can't wait until you get to go out there.
One day.
Yes.
Spend a week's of leave to go there.
We were out during the day, we went out in the evening, and then it downpoured. The skies opened up, and we got stuck underneath the deer stand taking cover from a massive storm that rolled in really quick. And then there was sometimes 3 inches of water standing on the ground after that.
Oh, yeah. I realized that the shoes that I paid big bucks for that were supposed to be waterproof, I thought they were waterproof because my feet still felt warm until I took my shoes off and my socks were soaked. I was like, no promises.
No, my shoes were all wet.
This is just warm wet.
I did. I ended up having to. Those are my big shoes.
Yeah. And so Jenna had walked back to where we were actually going to be sleeping that night to get on some dry clothes because she was soaked. I actually found a good spot underneath the deer stand where it was only leaking on me a little bit, so I would just move over a little bit and avoid the drips.
I went out into the rain and I went to get this tarp because the tarp was actually left outside and nobody wanted to seem to go get it. So I was like, okay, I will.
Wonder why.
I said, don't worry because my pants are quick dry. Well, they were quick dry, but not my undergarments. So yeah, it was time to change. I was so happy to get on some dry clothes. We've got a video
of those end of time.
It
was one of those end of time storms.
Oh my goodness.
Just blows up at night and afternoon.
Yeah.
It was interesting. And then the lightning strikes were not that far away. Whew. That was kind of scary. I was like, put that walking pole
under a metal deer stand.
Well, it was a wooden one. We were under
one he built.
Yeah, one he built a long time ago. Anyway, so and then we stayed out there. I was out there till about 3:30 in the morning.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you hear anything at night out there?
Unfortunately, we did hear songbirds. songbirds are flying over us at night.
Mm-hmm.
That's never happened to me before. And
Sometimes
then,
they do.
well,
Sometimes
I
they
was
get flustered. You know?
Well,
was talking
we
talking
looked it
to
up, and they do look for their mates, partners.
Mm-hmm.
And so then there was a barred owl that was talking to me for a little while, and I was talking back. He was pretty far away though, but it was a quiet night after that, and I think it was because it rained like crazy, like really bad. There was standing water everywhere.
Ooh.
So
You didn't get in on any of his gifting or anything while you were there?
oh, we did gifting, yeah, and that's something we haven't shared yet. Should we share that, girls?
So I've heard about it, but
You heard about it.
yeah,
You heard about it.
yeah.
What'd you hear?
I don't want to be the guy that breaks. It's not going to be me. This is not my show. I'm just here to be the comic relief.
All right.
Oh,
All right.
no, you're supposed to be our guest.
He's supposed to be talking about him.
Right?
Hey, my show is to hear stories, so I'm basically like contributing to stories.
Yeah, he told me.
That's
He
what I
told
like
me.
to do.
He told me in chat. He goes, "I want to hear all about what happened at Randy's during the show."
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
funny. It's amazing.
So, are we
It's an
sharing that,
amazing
girls?
place.
Are we sharing what
Yeah,
I
go
gifted?
ahead.
Yeah. Tammy wasn't looking so sure.
That's your story to tell.
So okay, so Randy has this huge trailer full of skulls, of deer skulls and beaver skulls and raccoon skulls, and he says that when he walks on the trails, which are mowed, sometimes he walks in and when he comes back out, there's a skull sitting on the trail. So he figures that they're gifting him these skulls, and that actually makes sense to me because they weren't there before. Is that Randy in the chat room? He was there for a second.
Could have been. I told him I was going to be on.
Yeah.
He said hi.
So there we
Randy
go.
here. Randy here.
That's awesome. Well, I think he's out again. Is he out again? Anyway.
If you're in, hi, Randy. It's Jenna.
Oh, no,
Randy.
okay.
All right. So he had all these skulls that he has laid out on this trailer, and I knew that happened. So I thought, what could I bring as a gift for Bigfoot? And so I brought traditional knick-knack, which is traditional native tobacco. And I also brought a buffalo bone bead, a long one, made out of buffalo bone. And I thought, well, they've been gifting bones to Randy. I'll gift a bone back, right? And it has, like, for anybody who can feel energy on a vibrational level, it has a really good vibration to it. Didn't it, Jenna? She didn't want to give it up. I let her hold it. And she's like, I want to keep it.
It wanted to stay in my hand. It just felt so comfortable there.
It's like Ellie Mae of Bones. Can I keep him, Paul?
Right? Can I keep it, pal?
Can I keep him? He's following me home.
So I'm going to give Jenna some of those so she can have them for her very own. But anyway, so we're out at one of the gifting areas, and I asked Randy, is this a good spot to leave my gift? And he said, yeah. So I took the bone out. I let Randy hold it so he could feel it and see if he could feel the vibration of it. And then I spoke out loud in the Ojibwe language. I did a formal protocol greeting, thanking Bigfoot. And I put the tobacco down and the buffalo bone bead on top of something else that was already there that they move around and play with Randy on. And I don't know if it was a dog toy or what it was, but it was something. And then I took a picture of it. And so that Randy could see exactly where I placed it and how I placed it in case something changed later. Anyway, so I think we were home like a couple days. Maybe it was the day after we got home, and Randy messaged me, hey, your bone is gone. And he sent me a picture, and it's gone. So they took it. That's awesome.
Now, I do have to say, in this area, there was a lot of other things that could have been taken or moved. It wasn't just like a bone and a few other things. This was an area. It had a lot of different things in it. So by one piece completely missing, that was actually kind of neat.
So just the bone out of all the other stuff was gone?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like maybe like it was a bone. That's kind of attracted to other things. If it's just it, it's pretty wild. What language you say you were speaking? You said you spoke to it?
Ojibwe.
Ojibwe.
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
Chippewa.
Chippewa.
Heard of that?
Like Gitchagumi?
Yes. That's Ojibwe.
Gitchagumi.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The legend lives on.
Yes, that's the Ojibwe language. Some people say Chippewa, but it's technically Ojibwe. So
Ojibwe.
Yep.
You know, that's interesting. You said you send the traditional tobacco, because you would think the stories we've heard our whole lives about the hairy man and the Native American interaction. Surely to goodness, there's got the Bigfoot maybe has a tradition of liking tobacco back before the white man showed up. Maybe that was something they traded with him. I'm just picturing a Bigfoot in a little Kung Fu Panda hat smoking a big chief.
Oh man, now tonight I'm gonna have the weirdest dreams.
Kind of makes me happy. Kind of makes me happy to think about. Looking like Poe, Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
Smoking a big Cuban.
I don't think that they smoked it.
Do they chew it like Chris Ledoux? Put it in their lip?
I don't think so. It's for natives. It's a traditional thing to gift that to spirits and nature spirits all alike. To give tobacco is to give life. It's just an offering to give back, to give something back. And like in the southern states, like the Pueblos, they give cornmeal instead of tobacco. So it's something that's just valuable to their people.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
it's like the essence of life for them.
Yeah.
It's like water almost, cornmeal.
And where Randy lives is like it's 30 minutes drive from my reservation. So it makes sense that they may be at least familiar with some native traditions. So
I would think so.
Yeah.
I put a lot of stock in those Native American stories. I feel like that's like the as they say on Men in Black, the hot sheets. When it comes to the Bigfoot stuff, that should be where the reference start. If you ever wanted to get the real deal, instead of being just those crazy Indians. I'm like, what do you mean crazy Indians? You know how
Jen,
people are. That
don't take offense.
I'm saying this as a parody of what people would say. Like they're not. It's valid what they're saying. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not just a legend they made up because they saw a shooting star one time. It's actually based on evidence.
So many stories. In fact, I love listening to Jen talk about those stories because they're so interesting and they go back so far.
You want to get me listening? Talk about the Native American Bigfoot stories. I'm sitting on the floor cross-legged.
Well, speaking of you talking, we're going to be going to a break here in a minute or so, or 2 minutes. Afterwards, I want to hear all about the best stories that you've heard.
Yeah.
You've met half of them.
Ooh,
our friends. What we didn't talk about, Jenna, is before we got to Randy's for the last bit of the drive, we were pumping up our energy really high and I wonder if Bigfoot can sense that if they came out to look and see what's going on. What's that going on down there?
Just a big glow in the distance to them. You get out of your Subaru, it's just this big aura coming across the pines.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's a good point, Jen. I never thought about that. We were really pumping it.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that part of your strategy is to be females to Bigfoot? Because usually it's a bunch of the essence of the females to be, it gets more attention than just the crazy white men with the camo hats.
It is part of our strategy just to be female, but we also were doing Reiki energy healing, and so we were raising our frequency before we got there, and so we were pumping it up. So it was like a
pregame ritual for y'all. It's like coming out of the tunnel,
right? The only thing we don't do is, I guess we can make a lot of noise there too. So
Jenna's always making noise. Are you kidding me?
I do, and you know what? Hey. It says I'm here. I'm kidding.
Tammy is trying really hard not to laugh.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you.
There you go, Tammy. There you go. And with that, we're going to go to our commercial break. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. All right.
Randy is back in the chat room now.
Yay.
Randy's back?
Yay.
Yeah, but he can't hear you.
Just about saying.
No singing, John.
I know, but we're on commercials, so technically, does that
Tammy
still
gave you the
apply?
mom look. Yes, it does. Because we're YouTube, and they check.
YouTube sticklers. Now you're just trying to get her to be quiet. YouTube checks.
So I have to say another thing quick. When we were out in the middle of the woods and I was talking a lot, I kept bugs kept flying in my mouth. So after the third one, I took it as from Bigfoot saying, "Shut up, shut up," just pushing him in my mouth. Eat another one. Shut your mouth.
When we were under the deer stand taking cover from the holy mackerel storm that was rolling in and just lightning strikes and just flooding the ground, Jenna's talking and
and there were such serious stories too, and because I was taking these deep breaths and then it go right down there. It's terrible.
She got lots of extra protein that night.
It did. Oh, I can't think about it. Oh.
It's like all those movies when they're in Africa and they pick up a stick with ants on it.
Yes.
All the protein. Take the protein.
Right?
The little cream filled kind. Like Timon.
I'll stick to beef.
Yeah, me too.
Jenna, would you eat a bug, on purpose?
Maybe. Depends on the situation. I'm not a germaphobe when it comes to animals or bugs and stuff. I'm a germaphobe when it comes to people. Dirty, dirty people. No, really. People don't wash their hands.
It's no different than a crawdad. That's all a bug is.
A little bit of crunch. That's the only part that I don't think I'd enjoy.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Journey Radio Show, and hey, we're the She-Squatchers. Why don't you check us out online at She-Squatchers.com. Go to our events page. It's all updated with what's going on with us this year. And you'll see a special note there saying we're not doing as many events this year because we're focusing our time off we're doing more field work and filming documentaries. So there's going to be a lot more of us to see in documentaries sometime soon. So that's what's going on there. But if you are an event organizer and you'd like to have us at your event, please do contact me, and we'll see if we can arrange something if we have an open time. But there's only so much time we can take off in the year. So
maybe next year.
There's always next year. Start booking early. So yeah, welcome back to the show. We're also on YouTube. Please subscribe to our channel at She-Squatchers Official. Facebook and Instagram also She-Squatchers Official. Please like and follow us there for what's the upcoming things of going on. We've got Bobby Dizzle with us tonight. Hey Bobby.
Yay.
Hey, I want to hear more from you.
First commercial break.
Yeah. We only get one.
No more sponsors. Like a Saturday morning special.
Yeah.
So you wanted to hear one of my stories.
Yeah, what are your favorite stories?
I got a couple that came to my mind. One of which was a fellow named Jonathan Wadsworth. In 1982, he was deer hunting in Nebraska. New Hampshire. Is New Hampshire a state?
Yes.
Easy for you to say.
Nebraska. It's a What's the V? There's Nebraska and Vermont. That's right. Okay, good God in heaven. What's wrong with me? It's late. But he was deer hunting.
3 girls. Come on now, give yourself a break.
I know, but he was in Nebraska or Vermont deer hunting in 1982, and he saw a Bigfoot walk out into the green field in front of where he was hunting in the tree stand, pick up a deer and snap its neck like a chicken. Like pick it up by the neck and just go. You ever seen somebody snap a chicken's neck and just shake it? Did that down with the force of its body and then threw it over its shoulder and ran off. That's been one of my favorite ones. And he said the same thing Randy did when I talked. They're about the same age, him and Randy are. And he's like, these things are real. I don't care what anybody says. I'm like, oh my gosh. That was crazy because if you see one, the distance he saw, that's not some dude. You can't just catch a deer.
So what do you think, Bigfoot? Do you think that Sasquatch is a people? Do you think it's an animal? What do you think about all this?
I've got to go with a not crazy. That'd be a variation of evolution from people, maybe. When I picture, I don't picture a gorilla. If that makes sense. I don't picture Jane Goodall, mountain gorilla, silverback. I picture almost the thing from Exist, If you've seen that movie, like a person face. It's one of those Netflix Bigfoot movies, like a person face, but not a person. Maybe. I know you. Has Randy told you the statue that he saw that he's got that his wife saw one in the driveway of what the face looks like?
Go ahead and explain it.
Yeah, it's basically the statue you see at every like yard sale place where they sell a little. It basically looks a lot like that. I mean, but when you do a Bigfoot in AI, it comes out like a gorilla. And it's just I don't think they look like gorillas. Like that's just a silverback standing up.
It would be really neat to work with an artist, with someone who has seen a clear view, to be able to work with that artist and really connect with them and come up with something.
I think it may be on the side of gorilla if it's evolutionary, if they're from here, like my loose hypothesis from what I've gathered from listening, if they're from here, they evolved from humans. The hair you get, the DNA sample is always part human. And I think maybe just a really, for the lack of a better word, an ugly person is what they look like. Like maybe I'm trying to think of maybe like Harry and the Henderson-esque.
Offending Bigfoots everywhere.
Yeah,
right? Everybody's like, no.
Hey, Randy's Bigfoot shut off my router like twice, so I don't mess with him. I never had problems until I talked to him.
There is like no service out there.
Mm-hmm.
None. So we were staying in his old camper, and I was able to connect to their house internet if I sat at the table in the camper. As soon as I stepped away from the table, nothing. So even when I was standing by the table, I'd hold my phone over the table, trying to make it work.
It makes you wonder if they're doing some kind of Faraday cage over it. His whole place. Of course, it is near the Canadian border. It could just not be serviced there. You never know.
It's not that close to Canada.
Closer than I am.
Though, I have to say, when we were out there and we were walking, Randy's phone ended up turning into complete static, and I heard it. It was, we were walking, and all of a sudden it just completely went. I'm trying to make this static sound. Please forgive the non-resemblance. Yes, thank you. There you go, Jen. I've got a dry tongue, so it came out.
Another bug, Jenna?
Another bug.
It's like you're cursed. It's like the mummy.
Right? No, it's just me. I'm taking it from now on that I'm just talking too much. Maybe it was another bug. I'm turning myself on mute.
You still got a COVID mask.
You were telling us, Jenna, about the static. Randy's phone, your phone.
So anyway, his phone just all of a sudden started staticking, and it was for probably like maybe 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4. That's about how long the static lasted, until he pulled it out and he was like, what the heck is this happening on my phone? He said, this has never done this before. And I was reading a book, and they were talking about a place being static. And I just thought, isn't that interesting? Because we're all energy, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering if that was like an open doorway that just created the static. But there I go again.
But then your apps were open on your phone, Jenna?
Yeah. Then I pulled up my phone because I just pulled it open, and I had probably 10 or 12 apps open on my phone, which I did not. Some of these I did not even recognize. So I literally just swiped them all off. I told him about it, but I thought it was odd, but anything could have happened with mine.
A crazy thing with what Randy's story is, if you'll watch the show Skinwalker Ranch, Randy's had 90% of the same stuff happen to him that they talk about. And the host is from the town where I'm at now, host of Skinwalker Ranch. And so I see a lot of him on other radio shows and stuff, and he says the same stuff Randy does about the phone manipulation and the app manipulation and the headaches and the what's the word? Where they messes with his mind, he gets disoriented.
Out in the woods. Skinwalkers at Randy's then?
I think the technology, for lack of a better term, is the same. Whatever power from the great beyond is being used, I think the technology is very similar. Because Randy said the same thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I would say Randy says the same thing as a lot of the stuff they say. Same stuff.
I have to say something's going on. People are seeing a lot more. People are experiencing a lot more right now, because I just talked to someone who I'm very close with, who literally was very nervous about telling me. And this person told me that they saw a skinwalker. They didn't know what it was at first, so they started explaining what they saw to other people,
Mm-hmm.
and the other people said, that's a skinwalker. So it's just interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? What do you think about people and what they're saying these days?
I think it's more and more openness to it. I don't know if it's more people, because I got the same amount. Most of the stories I get are from the 70s and 80s. It's just people who have been bringing them. I think it's more people like per capita can have access to people like us is the problem. And it's not as big of. It's not the well, it's the solution.
I'm kidding. Yes.
I feel like I should watch my words on here.
No, I'm kidding you.
What is this, CNN?
I like to tease.
Am I going to get doxxed over here? Going to give people my address?
Just watch it. Wait till after the show, mister.
You said Indian. Now, what's the like? People aren't as scared to talk about it anymore.
It's more socially.
Used to, you couldn't even, especially UFOs. My God, you can talk about UFOs left and right. Yeah, I got abducted 8 times. 8 times. You've abducted 8 times, and you're just working at Walmart. You're just pushing buggies at Walmart like nothing happened. Some people, I'm like, wow, okay.
But you know what? There's so much going on that when you do have something happen to you, you're finally gonna say, "Oh."
Yeah, I know the feeling.
You know what I mean? That
I don't know if you know Wild Trees, but he and I do these little drills on my show about what to do if we see something. Like, step back, let it happen, don't freak out. I'm gonna freak out, but he's not. He may not. I'm gonna freak out.
You never know until you're in the situation.
Yeah. I'm afraid I'm going to start trying it too, because there's a lot of paranormal groups in Tennessee that have invited me on stuff, and I think I'm going to try to get at least something. Get my feet wet.
You know what? If you do, you're going to really enjoy it, and just getting out there onto the earth and just surround yourself, even with trees and everything. The energy, your energy, everything about you is going to change.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing.
I'm an outdoorsman anyway, or was before I moved to the suburbs, so it's still in me.
Oh, beautiful.
I still do most of that.
Yay.
I'm not a city boy, as they say.
I took my walk today. You guys, I have to say, I dance when I walk, and then sometimes I'll do weird exercises to get extra leg exercises in. Yeah, so if anybody sees me out there, honk, just to say hello, please. There's nothing wrong with me. That is my exercise routine.
And laugh at her.
I know. Well, you can do that too, but smile when you're laughing, please. It'll make me feel better.
Put you on
Is it like Jack Sparrow walking down the street?
Oh my gosh, you would.
Jenna's twerking down the street.
I disappear. Everything disappears when I put those earbuds in my ears, and suddenly I'm like 18 years old, and I look amazing, and I feel amazing, and suddenly I feel the beat, and I am on it. But that's not probably how it looks to everybody else. I'm just saying.
No.
That was me at the laundromat. That was me at the laundromat a couple weeks ago. I had my earbuds in and I was listening to some 90s music, and I was dancing and folding, and I was dancing like nobody was watching, but everybody was.
Oh, see? You noticed. So. That's fabulous. You saw everybody watching you? You're a superstar.
Oh, yeah. Right?
I don't pay attention.
Or it was super weird.
It's like a 90s Coke commercial.
Right?
What was happening
Don't start
earlier?
singing, Jenna.
Well, no, but that would have been a good spot to sing.
Yep. Patrolling Jenna's singing. So,
I have a problem with that.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Top 5 places you'd like to go looking for Bigfoot or anything paranormal. What are they?
Let's see. I want Pacific Northwest / Mount Rainier. I'm actually petitioning my family for next year's summer vacation to be up there. Probably Egypt, just to see what's up with that. So a lot of my stuff is like Venn diagram crosses with history, because I think I think in some way, in a hashtag Graham Hancock way, I think it all kind of intertwines. I'd probably like to see Waverly Hills, see what happens out there, and I think of Central America here. There's a bunch of haunted places in Mexico. There's a big volcano outside of Mexico City that has cryptids in it. That'd be cool to see, like the Lechuza, the La Llorona, Chupacabra, as they say.
That was my first cryptid that I learned about.
Yeah, that's wild. And it's just a hairless dog. And let's see. Oh, Navajo Reservation. New Mexico / Arizona. Wherever the Unsolved Mysteries episode was shot. With the Paranormal Rangers. It's like the Northwest, Egypt, Waverly Hills, Navajo. Yeah, that's about it. I know there's one more.
Randy's?
I don't know.
Randy's?
Oh, yeah, Randy's.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was like I thought that was like
Jeff.
I understood. I thought it was like I understood.
That was just like an open event that you were always wanting to go to. Okay, you mentioned going and seeing the pyramids in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think the pyramids are all about?
I don't know. See, like you got the theory, their hypothesis that the Egyptians walked up on the pyramids and they were already there, and that the Sphinx was there. It's something else, and they built it into the lion. And like I like that pre-Clovis, old Earth, forgotten history, culture of amnesia thing a lot. I probably just got a wild imagination. That's what gets me.
I'm pretty sure the Sphinx is way older than the pyramids.
Yeah. I'm saying like the Egyptians come in 4,000 years ago and like, oh, we built this, but it was there 10,000 years before they showed up. Like they haven't built anything since.
And you have to look at how they're being built. Are they different structures? Like what they're being built with?
Like why is there pyramids in Guadalajara, in Cambodia, in Göbekli Tepe, whatever it's called, Göbekli Tepe? I can't say the word. There's pyramids everywhere, and why are they all the same?
So do you think that it connects with anything specific, like energy? Do you think they're clocks? Do you think there's something to tell us where the stars are?
Aliens.
Are they alien?
Occam's razor is just the mathematically best way to build something. But it's weird that they all have the same ones across time, and I kind of don't think if you're smart enough to do what the Egyptians did, you didn't have a boat, or maybe an alien, to get you across from Mexico to Africa 10, 20,000 years ago.
Did you whisper it's aliens?
I said aliens.
Yeah.
Not saying it's aliens. It's aliens. I'll even mess my hair up if I have to. I don't have a whole lot going.
I was going to say, we can't see your hair under that hat, so...
Yeah, take that hat off. Be free.
I just have
No, you don't have to.
I have a very unflattering short haircut.
Hat cut and hat head.
This meeting is over.
I'd like to leave now. Thank you.
They're making me take my clothes off. File a complaint.
Don't tell your wife that.
Oh my goodness.
Be very sad with us because we won't do that.
I'll ride with her to Minnesota to go to Randy's when she comes.
You know what? If you do, we would love to meet her. And you, of course, in person. But...
Oh yeah. Probably like her more.
Oh, well, wives are always so interesting because then you get to hear the other stuff about the person.
She's the one that can see ghosts though.
Beautiful.
We went to Savannah. She's seeing ghosts. I'm like, crap. All I'm seeing is like po' boys and crawfish
what
boils.
Happened? Tell us about it.
We were in the Sorrel Weed House. It's old. There's a family got murdered there. Like I think it was like a stable hand, and got together with one of the maids, and they killed them. And you go upstairs and you hear the EVPs, and they tell you that, and you go downstairs into the basement, and they got an IR set up. And fun fact, Zach Bagans faked a possession down there. The tour guide told us. Yeah. Zach Bagans.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, we have to hear more about this. Can you just?
Yeah, the tour guide said that Zach Bagans faked a possession when they did a show there. He's like, hey, we were just standing there, and he started. Well, he was just like, they're just standing there, and Zach Bagans just starts convulsing. Like, you know how he is.
Well, yeah, but what if he really was being possessed? I guess I've never been like in front of someone being possessed, so I wouldn't know what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you got a point. I just assumed since it was that big and it wasn't real.
Yeah, well, and you just always have to question people's perspectives are so different. Because sometimes they just view what they're seeing with their eyes instead of thinking that there's other things.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, but you go in this room and it's IR, and there's a couch, and you get everybody the $2 K2 meters. And I was standing beside a guy who had his on the couch and said, "Why don't you come sit next to me?" Talking to him and everything. And I walked back out, and she's like, "I just saw a soldier pop up next to that guy." I'm like, "Oh shit!" He's talking to him. I was like, and it was. I was freaking out. I was like, "We gotta go." She goes, "Let's give me a minute." I'm like, "No, let's get out of here. You just saw a ghost."
No.
Did she see spirits, ghosts often?
She's seen one or two before.
Okay.
Saw a lady in a white dress appear and disappear in a cemetery once.
Okay. What happened in that situation?
I think it was a field trip, and she looked across like a couple yards away, and one just appeared in like how some families have like fences around their little area, and like she appeared in like a white dress and looked back, and she was gone.
Wow.
Yeah. The soldier thing happened because I'm like, man, why don't you do that? Why don't you tell me? Wait till we leave.
Oh no. So are you a
scaredy
cat? Like really? I mean,
probably not.
Okay. Because some people are. Jason, my honey bunny, he's a scaredy cat. I can be watching a scary movie and he'll hear the music and turn up his computer volume so he doesn't have to hear it.
No, I watch really, really scary stuff a lot.
Oh, okay.
I just freak myself out.
Oh.
If something actually did happen, I'd probably like bring it down to like a lizard brain and try to actually experience it.
Boy.
But I don't know yet. We'll find out. I have a potential real life investigation in my hometown in like 3 weeks. So
how exciting!
We'll see how it goes.
How many people are going?
Just me and the lead investigator.
Nice.
It's an old warehouse. There used to be a big mill long time ago. Apparently there was some worker abuse. I'm not 100% sure because we passed by it and they do like a actual a haunted house where people are dressed up like clowns and stuff, but it's actually haunted. It was like two facets.
You got to let us know if you find anything. That's cool.
Yeah, it may be like my home. Like it's like 5 miles from my parents' house, and I didn't even know it was haunted. I just thought it was an old crusty building.
Oh wow!
It's like 100 yards square. It's a big old place.
That's very cool.
My hometown's not very big.
And you said that's in 2 weeks?
It's on the 25th of June. We're going to do a podcast regardless whether I go there or not, but I'm definitely going to go there eventually and check it out.
Very cool. Going back to your list, I'm trying to remember. Now you said Egypt. You said
Mount Rainier / Pacific Northwest.
What makes you want to go to Mount Rainier?
Yeah, that's like the Bigfoot capital of the world. The Mount St. Helens had the bodies, and I just feel like if you got out there and got to a public camping area far enough out, maybe you could, do what you were saying, like get your energy right and listen, kind of do some deep breaths and get your mind clear. I don't have a gun. I'm not going to take a picture. I've got Vienna sausages and some honey buns.
Vienna sausages.
Yeah, our peanut butter, the universal Bigfoot language, GIF.
Mm-hmm.
GIF.
Yeah.
GIF. Hey, I love that stuff.
I said, do you think the peanut butter industry knows how the Bigfoot industry is propping them up?
Oh, there'll be a commercial soon. You just wait. There'll be a Bigfoot commercial with peanut butter.
Especially after you literally just said that. Someone's typing it in right now. Peanut butter. We're going to make this commercial right now.
Everybody,
it'll be out tomorrow.
It's everybody that has anything to do with it. It's just, I'll put peanut butter out. Why did you think peanut butter? Why is that where you went?
I love the fact that they did think of peanut butter because they have to literally open. Mm-hmm. They need digits.
And they got the finger down it?
Yeah, and they can leave fingerprints. They can, there's things there's evidence that can be left. But I
think that's part of it.
Who thought of peanut butter?
Yeah, but that's like the first thing anybody does is put peanut butter out and apples. The apples I can understand, but actually other stuff can get it. But you can set peanut butter in a tree, not just anything can get it.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to let us know when you go out there because we're gonna have to meet you guys. Maybe we can meet up with you guys.
Yeah, I'm petitioning for something like that, or like the San Juan Islands off the coast of Seattle.
Go to San Juan. Oh my gosh.
Is that up by Victoria, Canada? Am I thinking of the same thing? Yeah, I just know it's like a bunch of you can, because I'm into going kayaking wherever I go, and so they got a bunch of kayak tours. We just did Alligator River kayak a couple weeks ago or last week.
So what kind of excitement do you run into?
Didn't see any alligators. It was breezy and rainy, and they like a snake. When it's sunny, the snakes will be out on the rocks. The alligators basically do the same thing. So when it's not good weather, they just kind of hide out. We saw a bunch of turtles, a bunch of other stuff, but
gotta say, I wouldn't be too keen to go kayaking with alligators.
It was North Carolina alligators. They're not very big.
Have you ever fallen out of the kayak?
Oh yeah, many times.
No.
I bought me a nice expensive one so that could be curbed a little bit.
Nice.
It's those cheap Girl Scout specials that'll toss you out.
Yes, if you're not balanced, you will fall in getting in.
Yeah, I bought one made for bass fishing, so it's made to stand up in, so it's ultra stable.
Ooh, you must have spent a pretty penny.
Yeah, it was worth it. I kayak a pretty good bit. And it's made where you don't have to like sit. Sometimes you get in a kayak, you sit down in it. This is you kind of just step over and sit on it, kind of like a folding chair kind of thing, almost like a beach chair.
Huh.
It's up about 8 inches.
I'll be doing this tonight. Going, what is this standing kayak?
Yeah, it's called a Jackson. Jackson makes it.
All right.
Mine's a Jackson Liska.
Jenna, you don't need one.
Yeah. you need two of those.
Yes, because you have to have somebody to go with you.
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna punch it up on my phone real quick. So continue.
Hey, look up Jackson Liska. I don't know. Jackson Big Rig's the biggest one they make. It's amazing, but it's like literally $4,000, and I didn't need it because all I was looking for was weight limit. I didn't need to like haul the family.
Right.
So what kind of weight limit is the small one? I should say the regular.
Usually they're like 300 or 400 pounds. Like the other one I got, the sit-in, I call it the summer camp special. It's about 365.
Oh wow, nice.
I can go from 250 to 200 in any given year depending on my mood.
You could put a big cooler in that one too. Yeah,
but the Jackson I got is 500 pounds. It's so you can put like a small cow on there. You do this, and it doesn't fall off.
Nice.
And it can't flood because it's a sit on top. It's just a big piece of plastic.
All right, Bobby. I gotta ask you, how can people get a hold of you?
You can find every way to get a hold of me at bobbydizzle.com. That's the simplest way. But bobbydizzle.com, the way it sounds. And that's all my YouTube and all my TikToks and my audio podcast. I'm on audio podcast. I'm on YouTube. I got some TikTokies. I'm on Facebook. Yeah, just check it out. It's all on bobbydizzle.com. The page opens up like a business card. I designed it like that.
Very nice. So you're on TikTok.
Cool,
do you do the glow in the dark dances on TikTok?
I just put clips from the show on there.
Oh.
It got kind of tedious, so I haven't done it in a while. But my daughter puts it on my personal one. She does all the little dances. I try to make it to where it doesn't look like a predator is oogling it. I'm like, I can't put anything too suggestive, like you're 8. So.
Mm-hmm.
But the Wednesday Adam dance, she had to do that.
Very nice.
That's true.
Well, that takes us to the end of the show. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're going to be gone for a while on expedition. So we love you, and we will have lots to share when we get back.
My camera angle was all jammed up.